So how do these systems work together in combat? Well, let me answer it like this. Hi-Fi Rush, when everything clicks, has some of the most satisfying combat of any game in recent memory, with some caveats. There's a bunch of combos you can use and they're all easy to execute, but there's an obvious optimal path that you should take which will result in the enemy getting thrown into the air one way or another, followed by a magnet grab, followed by an air combo, followed by a magnet grab, and so on. Not just because you'll be able to deal more damage, but also because getting up from the floor makes it impossible for most enemies to reach you with their attacks and disrupt the combo. Aiming for this locks you into just a couple of ground combos, and there aren't a lot of air combos either. During my first playthrough, I was pretty much locked into 3 or 4 different ground combos, and then 2 different air combos. Those were just the ones that felt good and were fun to use. There's one important part of the combat that I feel makes up for the lack of complexity though, and that's the music. For starters, the music in fights is progressive and changes as you climb the rhythm meter ladder. For normal encounters, I think the music gets more intensive after each letter, but with boss fights, I didn't notice much of a difference above B. The songs get more punchy and the beat gets more noticeable the higher you climb, adding to that feeling of success you get while you're doing good and bolstering your ego. It's amazing how understated the effects good music during gameplay can have on the overall feel of the game, and Hi-Fi Rush nails this aspect. I've also been thinking about this for a while, but I couldn't figure out just why the fighting itself feels as good and satisfying as it does. At least not until I realized that every hit from Chai adds guitar riffs to the background track. It's hard to overstate just how much of an effect this has on the general feel of the combat. It's one of those small touches that elevate everything to a whole other level, and I also think this is a big reason why stringing combos feels so addictive, even if there isn't that much complexity in the combat as a whole.